How's it going, you guys? It's Marshall here, and today I have the pleasure of showing you guys this extremely rare car behind me. It's an E60 AMG car based on the 500e Mercedes Benz. We're gonna ignore these cars here. Should I show them these cars real quick? What is this? A slant nose. This is a turbo, Phil?
I have no idea.
These are all this guy's cars, so say hi, Phil. This is his collection here. He also has the E30 M3 on the, what are these, AC Schnitzers, Phil?
AC Schnitzer type.
Yeah, those are nice. He has one of these, but I have one of those, so we don't care about that. CRX SI, original Civic, and do you like this one the most, the Testarossa?
No, that's my daily.
That's the daily one, even though it's in the furthest away. This thing's cool, this slant nose. I don't know if you guys can see, but the interior on this thing is mint. And then lastly, over here, we have an NSX NA2 on some Mugen MF10s. I like the wheel choice, Phil. Yeah, but for today's video, I'm just gonna be showing you guys the ins and outs of this E60 AMG here.
She wanted me honey. The bitch is a baby. Oh, fucking hell. Oh, I can't cut it. I smoked up, I can't cut it.
So the car behind me is a very special pre-AMG merger Mercedes Benz E60 AMG. And no, this is not a 500e or E500 from the early 90s, even though it looks exactly the same. This is actually a true AMG car. Very similar to the two-door AMG Hammer car, this car also features a 6-liter V8 engine, good for about 381 horsepower. So we can't talk about the E60 AMG without first talking about the platform that this car is based on, the 500e Mercedes. It's a car quickly appreciating in price and becoming highly collectible, as enthusiasts love the fact that it was a car commissioned by Mercedes to be designed and built by Porsche. So the 500e Mercedes was commissioned by Mercedes to be built by Porsche. They had them fit in the M119 V8 engine from the SL500, as well as upgrade the brakes and suspension in order to handle the increase in horsepower. Each 500e was hand built and took 18 days to assemble. So this car shares the same body style as the 500e, with the flared front fenders and the flared rear fenders and the timeless box styling of all the Mercedes from this era. So then, what differentiates a 500e from an E60 AMG? The exterior actually stays pretty much exactly the same. Retaining that classic 500e box styling, there's actually only two changes to the exterior. The more noticeable of the two, the E60 gets these gangster 17-inch 3-piece wheels, and I think it really suits the styling of the car. And then, in the rear, the E60 gets this twin-tip AMG exhaust. But besides the E60 badge change, there's little to indicate just how special this car really is. Now the real changes for the E60 AMG lie underneath the hood. AMG took the 5-liter V8 engine and bored and stroked it to a 6-liter configuration, bumping the power by over 50 horsepower to a total of 381 brake horsepower. Now this was good for a 0 to 60 time of roughly 5.3 seconds. Very fast for its day. Think about how fast that would be in the early 90s in a 4-door luxury car. So what makes the E60 AMG such a special car is that it's actually a pre-merger AMG car. So for those of you who don't know, before AMG became the Mercedes brand that we know it as today, it was actually an independent tuning house. And when the E60 was made, AMG was still its own separate entity. You could think of AMG much like you would like a Brabus. They would have their different upgrade packages and you could send off and purchase for your new Mercedes Benz. So that's what it means when we say pre-merger AMG. Now because of this pre-merger status, it's hard to find specific information or exact details about the E60, and it's estimated that anywhere between 100 to 150 E60s were ever made. You see, there's no exact numbers because anyone could just order a 500e new and then ship it off to AMG to have them perform the upgrades and turn it into an E60. And that's exactly what happened to this car here. It was purchased as a 500e new in Japan, and then the owner had it shipped off to AMG where it was upgraded and came back with its E60 badging. However, There are some ultra rare E60s that came new from Mercedes as E60s. When you went to build your 500e, you could check an option called the 957 AMG technology package. This would add a 957 to your VIN number to identify it as a from factory E60 AMG. So now let's go ahead and show you guys some of the engine details of this E60. And as you guys can see, when you pop open the hood, this is where you can really tell that this is an E60 AMG and no longer a E500 or 500e. As you guys can see on the air intakes, it has the AMG badging with the 6-liter, signifying that this is now a poured and stroked out 6-liter version of the M19 Mercedes engine. Something really cool, this is my first time getting to see this car, and I've never seen an E60 in person before, is that all these little AMG stickers that signify that this is a real E60, it's just something special you don't see on any of the new AMGs, since they now are made in factory, in-house, by AMG and Mercedes together. So this sticker, for instance, on the side here, it says AMG E500-6.0. Like I said, this is based on the E500 chassis, and so that you guys know that an AMG, this is what it says. It says an AMG Mercedes is first and foremost a Mercedes Benz. It's just kind of funny because this whole sticker, it kind of has to walk you over the process of this still being sort of a factory car, which is just kind of funny today, because we all know AMG as being sort of the best package, the motorsport version of Mercedes Benz right now. And it's just funny to see different stickers like this, and it just really makes this car special, and it sort of adds to that uniqueness that I was talking about. While the exterior sort of remains the same, the interior is a little bit different than a normal 500e. And on this one, there's a couple of special things that have been done to it. So let's go inside and I'll show you guys around the interior. So stepping into this car's interior, one of the things I love about this car and a 500es is just how basic and simple the interior is. There's not much going on in here, and there's no overcomplicated tech to make this car really look that dated. It has a nice classic look in here that'll never go out of style. So taking a look at the center console here, as you guys can see, it's very, very simple. You have your defroster here, and the car even has aircon as well as a heater. It even has heated seats. And then down here you have your 4 window switches, but that's basically it in here. But other than that, as you guys can see, this dashboard is very basic and minimal. I thought this was kind of funny, but the car actually has one single cup holder, and it's this G-Wagon style basket neck cup holder right here. So all the E60s came with this 500e Sportline interior option with the Recaro seats. And let me tell you, the leather quality on these seats is amazing. They're also probably the softest seats I've ever sat in. And when I sat in the rear seats, it sort of just hugs you like a really nice couch would. Granted, this car has only 27,000 kilometers or so on it, so it's basically still kind of brand new, but regardless, the materials in here have held up extremely well over time. So that's kind of all of your basic 500e stuff. Let's go over some of the special AMG touches inside of this car. So the first thing I noticed when I stepped in here is this super sick Recaro AMG steering wheel. I'm not sure if this came in all of the E60s, as there's no real mention online of a new steering wheel in E60s. However, this one is super cool. It has this Recaro and AMG embossed into the airbag, as you guys can see, as well as these little AMG logos on the spokes. Super cool steering wheel and really nice little details. The other thing in here that I'm not 100% sure about is that there's a bunch of these Recaro and Auto Fashion plaques throughout the entire car. I'm sort of aware of what Auto Fashion is. It's this big aftermarket parts store in Japan, but I'm not too sure what its involvement is in terms of this car being an AMG. But as you guys can see, it has this plaque here that says Auto Fashion and Recaro, as well as another one of these Auto Fashion plaques on the passenger dashboard. And then there's one more plaque in the back of the center console, also says Auto Fashion and Recaro. This car's also been outfitted with these Auto Fashion Caro floor mats. They're these black and white checkered mats, and I think they look really nice in here, very period correct. Now on top of the Auto Fashion plaques, there's also more Recaro stickers throughout this entire interior. They're on all the door jambs and on the B pillars as well. And as you guys can see on the B pillar, there's also more of these AMG E60 stickers that describe the significance of this car being an E60. Like I said, I'm not too sure if these stickers came on all E60s or if 500Es had some of these Recaro stickers, since the Sportline Recaro seats came on 500Es as well. But this is the first E60 I've ever seen, and it's probably going to be the only E60 I'll ever see. So like I said, I'm not exactly too sure about the details of all of this stickers and badging in here. So on top of that, there's a few more AMG logos in here that let you know that, this is no longer a 500E. So on all 4 of the armrests, there's actually these embossed AMG logos now. And there's now even a little AMG logo on all of the leather grab handles. Really, really nice quality little touches in here. The pedals have also been replaced with these nice metal AMG pedals, which also have the AMG logo. And then if we take a look at the gauge cluster, you guys can see that has also been replaced with an AMG cluster. The cluster now has an AMG logo under the speedometer as well, and the speedometer has also been increased to 300 kilometers an hour. I know how much sort of like rare Honda gauge clusters go for, so I can't even really imagine how rare this AMG cluster is and how much something like this would even go for if it just happened to be for sale online. And then lastly, the most important plaque on this car is this AMG Japan VIN number on the door jambs. It's the official AMG Japan plaque, and it's on here to signify that, this is a real E60 and it's no longer a 500E like how it originally came from factory. When we take a look into the trunk, we have some more of these cool AMG specific stickers in here. We got those same E60 AMG stickers from before, as well as a couple new ones with this electricity bolt on it. And then we have this really cool E60 members only club sticker. And if we take a look to the left here, we also have this sticker that says Brembo and Porsche. And then at the bottom, it also says Auto Fashion Yokohama, Japan. And like I mentioned before, I'm not exactly too sure of the significance of Auto Fashion and AMG, but there's another sticker in here that says Brembo, Porsche, and Auto Fashion Japan on it. And then lastly, in the middle, we have an AMG logo. And there's also a new AMG sticker in here for the recommended tire size and tire pressure, and that's because they add those new AMG 17-inch Evo 2 wheels on here. Alright, now that we've gone over the interior and exterior of the E60 AMG, the only thing left to do is start this thing up, let you guys hear it, and take it around the block and tell you guys how this thing drives. This battery is dead on the car, so a little bit of a technical difficulty before we show you guys that startup. There we go. It's a 6-liter engine. Start up. Pretty quiet. It doesn't make any noise at all. Very OEM sounding. Alright you guys, so very privileged to, I'm gonna go drive this thing, and I don't know, I'm just gonna tell you how it feels like to drive a E60 AMG Mercedes Benz. Just gonna go around the block, see how an early 90s Mercedes car drives. It's a 4-speed automatic gearbox. So let's go around here and let's see what it's like to drive this thing. Oh, this car drives really smooth. Oh, that's me. So honestly, in here right now, going at normal speed, it kind of just cruises around like a little 2-door sports car, but like a newer car. It's very quiet in here. All the dash and stuff is, build quality is really nice. Being that it's made by Porsche in the Porsche factory, I wouldn't expect anything less of it. So go over here. Where's there like no cars? It's pretty nice in here though. It drives pretty comfortably. Steering position is really nice. I can see over everything. It honestly feels like a tiny car, but it's probably because it is small compared to four-door cars of today's era. I'm gonna give a little bit of gas and see how it feels. Oh, not bad. It honestly feels like it has the power of like a mid-2000s AMG car. Let's see, let's open up these windows. I'm gonna take a right here. Take a right here, open it up a little bit. Oh, actually we can't, we're in a neighborhood now. We don't know where we're going. Alright you guys, so I just wanted to voice this over and give you guys a more put together version of my thoughts on the driving experience of the E60. Just because during the drive, I was a little cautious and kind of too focused on driving more than talking, as I was a bit nervous being that it wasn't my car and it is such a rare vehicle. So basically when you get into the car, it has this overall sense of just superior build quality. It feels very well put together and very well built as you would expect from a Benz of this era, especially one hand built at the Porsche factory, and it definitely lives up to that namesake. There was some like noise coming from the rear suspension that you guys can hear, but that's just because there was new coilovers that were just installed, so the owner's gonna go get that checked out. But other than that, everything about the fit and finish of this car is exceptional. There's no rattles or creaks or cracking anywhere, and it feels like a brand new car, even though it's over 25 years old. Driving the car, the first thing you notice is how good the driving position is. You're just seated exactly where you'd want to be, and it has this great big window, and because the dash is so small and basically non-existent, you can just see over the hood and fenders, and you're just instantly comfortable driving the car. And it just feels, very small and compact. I know I didn't drive it aggressively or on any back roads, but you can just tell right away that this is a great driver's car. And on top of that, it has very good steering feel. The steering has a really nice weight to it, and there's no play on center at all. It really reminds me of the steering feel in my E39 M5. Granted, it feels a bit smaller and even more placeable than that. This was a surprise to me, as I generally sort of associate AMGs as more highway luxury cruisers or GT cars, just with big engine packages and lots of power. Whereas, the more driver-focused cars I typically associate more with BMW M stuff. However, the E60 was a pleasant surprise from this, and I like to think that 500e probably drives very similar to this as well. Aside from that, the car makes good power. It's not blow you away fast, but it's a fun amount of horsepower for the street. And just 90s cars in general, because they're a lot less insulated from the road, it always feels like you're going a lot faster in one of these cars than you would in a car built in the 2000s. The one and only letdown of this car is the 4-speed auto gearbox. It holds gears and doesn't really downshift when you want power, and the shifts are pretty clunky as well. But honestly, you're not really too let down by it because it's sort of everything you already expected from a 90s automatic, and because the overall package of the car is just so good, you combine that with this sort of retro driving feel that the car has, and you almost convince yourself that the auto almost adds to that period correct 90s driving experience. Fast upshifts and downshifts would be nice, but it's really just a street car at the end of the day. Yes, it'd be way better with a manual, especially that cool dogleg one from the 190e of the time. But like to say, there's no sense in crying over spilt milk, and the E60 only ever came in an automatic. This thing's pretty quick. Wait, this car's actually pretty fast. Yeah, this car's got some power for early 90s old Mercedes. Alright you guys, so that's going to do it on today's video. That's the E60 AMG, probably the coolest and rarest AMG car, most people have never heard of. Personally, it's one of my favorite cars of all time. I just love the styling of the car, and it just looks straight gangster, like you're in the Mafia or Yakuza. And I just love how low key it is despite its rarity and provenance. So if you guys made it this far, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever you guys want to do. And until next time, peace out.